Let's get ready to welcome this guy. Here he comes.
What you gonna do when the ever-loving Hulk comes smashing for you?
I have to get off this planet.
Gear up, that's what. There's a notion that when the current Marvel Universe collapses, its only contents might be the Hulk, drifting and angry that there's no more worlds to smash. With a force that powerful, you might think there's nothing you can do about the mean green smashing machine, but there are a lot of powerful things in the Marvel Universe, and a few of those would come in handy
Natasha, I could really use a lullaby.
when dealing with your Hulk problems. By now everyone should know that if you want to get something done in the Marvel Universe, on paper or on the big screen, you gotta go on a MacGuffin hunt and complete yourself an Infinity Gauntlet. Containing the Infinity Stones, or gems if you prefer, the gauntlet brings together power, space, time, reality, mind, and soul power to allow its wearer to snap their fingers and change the very nature of the universe. In the MCU, Thanos' search for the gauntlet to have the population of the universe to temporarily relieve the strain on resources in trade for other bigger problems resulted in one of the biggest movies of all time. In the pages of the comics, Thanos making a play for a complete set of gems has upended the Marvel Universe more than once, much to the frustration of Adam Warlock, who always seems to have to sort it out. Sorry, Adam. Thanos has been able to hold his own against the Hulk even without the Infinity Gauntlet, including the Hulk vs. Thanos series where Pip the Troll's girlfriend troubles winds up involving some of the universe's most powerful beings. Considering that Thanos originally put together his gauntlet to impress the living embodiment of death, which he was in love with, what goes around comes around, right? Even when the Hulk is trying to use the gauntlet, it takes a toll on Mean Green, giving the MCU's Hulk a broken wing. Thor on his own might be mighty, but the tools make the man, especially when that tool is the hammer Mjolnir. It can literally make you the man if you're worthy. Made of the substance Uru from the universe's first moon, and used to capture a god Tempest that threatened Asgard, the forging of Mjolnir blinked out a star, and the resulting explosion might have brought an end to the dinosaurs. Or it was Kang, the dinosaurs won't say. Thor and the Hulk have come to loggerheads more than a few times both on and off the screen. The God of Thunder has been able to lean on his godly powers and 1,500 years of practice to hold his own against the Hulk, and Mjolnir has certainly helped the Asgardians' win-loss ratio. The killer app, of course, is the enhancement that prevents anyone unworthy from wielding the magic hammer. Theoretically, that could mean the Hulk could be pinned down by Mjolnir, but whatever Hulk is pinned to better be enchanted as well, because Hulk will likely start smashing through it until he can get the hammer off of him. While mind-controlled by Thanos, the Hulk did manage to wield Mjolnir after a fashion, by having Thor still holding it, playing the universe's harshest game of stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. There are a lot of geniuses in the Marvel Universe, and people whose superpowers are literally the ability to just make stuff. So what makes Tony Stark so special, really? It might be his knack for creating a contingency plan. For the MCU, that urge drove a wedge between him and some of his fellow Avengers, when his contingency plan to build a suit of armor around the world tried to drop a city on Eastern Europe.
Never one to shrink from an honest challenge.
Regardless, most of Tony's contingency plans tend to work out, eventually. When he started teaming up with a force of nature that's just as likely to be the problem as solve the problem, Tony started building himself a contingency plan, the Hulkbuster Armor. Or Veronica, if you're trying not to make the big guy mad. Never make the big guy mad. The Hulkbuster is less a suit of armor than it is a bunch of additions to the regular Iron Man armor, specifically designed to bring enough power to at least slow the Hulk down. There have been a few iterations of the Hulkbuster armor, including one that could turn into a car for some reason, and they've been met with mixed results. Generally speaking, with the Hulk ripping the armor to shreds. In the MCU, the armor managed to subdue the Hulk and then help Banner to do some smashing on his own while the Hulk was having a timeout. Every place has one person who thinks it was better before all the other people got there. For Null, that place is the universe, and instead of making elaborate presentations at city council meetings, he created a weapon, Black the Necrosword, that could end the literal gods that were starting to crowd up his neighborhood. He even managed to behead a Celestial with it, and then used the severed head to create the symbiotes before leaving it to drift in space and become a place to do and trade shady stuff called Nowhere. Null handed the god-slaying weapon to a guy that was so into god-slaying, he made it a part of his name, Gore the God Butcher. The Hulk and Gore haven't formally met in the punchy-kicky way, but the Necrosword gave Gore Hulk-like strength on top of its ability to cut the universe's most powerful beings. The Hulk would have to tap into that world-breaker power to stand up to it. If collecting 6 stones seems like a bit of a hassle, then the Cosmic Cube is the answer to your problems. All you have to do is create a powerful matrix and then tap into the dimension of the Beyonders and hope to contain that power in the Matrix without creating an opening for a Beyonder to come into your reality and start doing crazy Beyonder stuff. If you're successful, you have an object that can change the very nature of reality in response to your very thoughts. That might be too much hassle though. So there's another way to tap into the power of the cosmos, and that's the power cosmic, naturally. The catch though is that the best source of that power is the hungriest hungry hippo in the universe, Galactus. Galactus generally only hands that power over to his heralds, whose job it is to find Galactus edible planets and tell whoever is there that their planet is on the menu. The herald that refused to serve up the Earth, Silver Surfer, might be the only hero who's really not bothered by the Hulk, even draining him of gamma radiation and turning him back into Bruce Banner in an early encounter. One thing that eventually becomes clear is that in the Marvel Universe, Earth has been basically a truck stop early on for beings of immeasurable power. Celestials, the Demiurge, that's the godlike beings that gave us Chthon, and eventually the Darkhold, and the Octessence. Like other groups that have used Earth as their chessboard, the Octessence found a needlessly elaborate plan to see who was the most powerful. They'd each drop a gem with a fraction of their power, which it would grant to the first person who touched it. Then those 8 would fight it out. Makes perfect sense, right? Apparently only Cyttorak understood the game and made it so his gem was actually findable, though no one got the idea to pocket it until Charles Xavier's stepbrother Marco Kane came along with his grabby hands and became the Juggernaut.
Oh my god! Juggernaut!
Cyttorak's whole deal is destruction. As long as Kane keeps breaking things, he gets to keep the Juggernaut power. This has brought him into the path of the Hulk a few times with mixed results. The gem's power can be increased, but then that would make the Hulk mad, which increases his power. Like many things, it can beat the Hulk, but it can also get beaten by the Hulk. Use with caution. Mjolnir isn't the only thing to come from Asgard that can bring the hurt. Long before Hulk became Earth's problem, the Celestials were making life difficult for the pantheons that were connecting to Earth. Odin, Zeus, and Brahma once got together to make something to deal with the Celestials. That weapon was a suit of armor with a substance even stronger than Uru, and then the 3 leaders of their pantheon poured their power into it, becoming the Destroyer Armor. The armor does all the things you'd want a magic suit of armor to do, including strength that's only limited by how much strength it can be imbued with by the people using it. But the big gun is the blast that's emitted from the helmet that is intense enough to destroy even Uru. No one has thought to use the Destroyer Armor against the Hulk, mostly because using the Destroyer Armor is a tricky proposition. If they did, however, they'd have to work quickly because the Hulk hardly ever stands still long enough to power up your Doomsday weapon. No character is more associated with the Hulk as much as Wolverine. Marvel's most famous mutant made his debut in the pages of the Hulk, and the two have been at odds ever since. Work it out, fellas. Wolverine's strength isn't measured in tons. He doesn't shoot powerful beams. He's not even tall by regular human standards. What he does have is the mutant ability to heal, and a skeleton and a set of claws covered in the alloy Adamantium. Plus, he's Canadian, so there's that. Created by accident, the rare and hard-to-make alloy is virtually indestructible, and Wolverine has to put himself in danger's way enough to prove that, including nuclear blasts and Hulk smashes. Standing up to the Hulk, however, doesn't mean beating the Hulk. That is until Old Man Logan when Old Wolvie proved Drax right. Going from the inside is easier. So he got himself swallowed by the Hulk and then worked his way out. Hope you weren't eating. One way to beat the Hulk is just go and erase the entire universe, which is what happened in Marvel Universe: The End. The story involved who else? Thanos, looking for an all-powerful weapon. Classic Thanos. This time an omnipotent source of power that's holding up the entire universe, known as the Heart of the Universe. The Heart of the Universe is the ultimate trump card in the game of ultimate trump cards. That is the powerful end of the Marvel Universe, even overpowering the Living Tribunal, and can be used to create or destroy, like everything. Fortunately for basically everyone, the end takes place outside of the Marvel continuity. Not to worry though, because the Marvel continuity has its own device of ridiculous power. When Galactus first tried to make a snack of Earth, he was met by the Fantastic Four, but being stretchy, flamey, rocky, and invisible wasn't really going to do the trick. So the Watcher, who by now everyone knows takes the whole don't interfere thing as more of a suggestion, kind of like a guideline, hipped the Fantastic Four to his super switch, which Galactus had in his stash, and sent Johnny Storm to retrieve it. That device, the ultimate Nullifier, which is just a thing with a big lever like a staple gun that acts like the universe's Control-Z, undoing whatever the wielder wants. Faced with being nullified, Galactus went for greener pastures, where they didn't have a nullifier, and for good measure, trapped his herald Silver Surfer here on Earth. Since then, the enchanted staple gun has been used to threaten or erase some of the biggest threats to the Marvel Universe. The catch, of course, is that if your intellect isn't up to snuff, it'll erase you. Really though, the only one who could ever stop the Hulk is Bruce Banner. While he's been trapped by his angrier half, Banner is the only one with enough influence to stop the Hulk, not equal to strength but force of will. Easier said than done.